Andrew, as KPBS's Metro reporter, you've covered a number of State of the City addresses over the years. How did last night's speech compare to past years?
I would say that the overall tone in Faulconer's speech was more ambitious, and it was actually more progressive. So I think Faulconer is entering 2019 in a very different political environment than he has been in years past.
What solutions did he offer, for instance, when it comes to getting more people off of the streets and out of shelters and into permanent housing?
Yeah, so homelessness, he said, is the big issue in San Diego, and I think that's certainly the case for a lot of people who live here, who see more homeless people living in their neighborhoods and in our parks and canyons. He said, he's going really all in on what he calls his Housing Navigation Center. So this is a building in the East Village where he says it would be a one-stop shop for people who are living on the streets to connect with social services and be placed on a wait list, usually, for permanent housing. He also says he wants to streamline the development process for new housing construction to get people out of homelessness. And he's really also urging the council to continue funding the bridge shelters. So these are 3 shelters that are providing some safe and clean and dignified living conditions for people who were previously living on the streets. They've been very expensive and they've had some pretty mixed results, and there's been some resistance among Democrats to keep on paying for them. So he's saying, don't cut the funding. We need to continue this solution because it's really helping people.
When it comes to development, the mayor talked about red tape and cutting through that red tape. What does he say, or what is he suggesting to help do that?
Yeah, so these are where I think we've seen some of the biggest and boldest proposals from Faulconer's speech last night on the issue of housing and the housing supply. He wants to eliminate height restrictions on new construction of new homes in areas that are close to public transit. And this would be very ambitious and a big change from the current rules, because when you have a height limit of, say, 30 feet, it's very difficult to fit enough homes into that piece of land for a developer to make profit and for the city to overall increase the overall supply of housing when you have these really restrictive height limits. He also wants to allow for unlimited density, so developers could build really, really compact housing developments if they include a certain percentage of their units, of their homes, for low-income folks and people who are trying to exit homelessness. These are proposals that are likely to face a lot of resistance from people, especially homeowner groups, but we have a clip here from Mayor Faulconer, and I think he says at least that he's ready to take those groups on.
These changes represent a complete rethinking about how we deal with housing. We must change from a city that shouts, "Not in my backyard," to one that proclaims, "Yes, in my backyard." From a city of NIMBYs to a city of YIMBYs.
So that YIMBY term, it's really part of a movement across the state of California, and it's the answer to this extreme housing crisis that the state is facing. They want to build more housing, and they just want to say, yes, yes in my backyard.
Andrew Bowen, thank you so much for following this story for us.
Thanks, Ebony.